talking the issues and taking the hit. Here they are, the two crazy guys.
All right, welcome back. This is the final episode. Man, it goes by so quickly when you're having fun. Listen, during the break, Mark had an awesome analogy. Why don't you tell the listeners about that analogy? Because I love it.
Okay, well, yeah, and I wanted to bring it up when we were talking earlier, but my brain is not the steel trap it used to be. When you're talking to a kid or somebody, or anybody that thinks about it, you go, well, if I take the plug from this power strip and plug it into the power strip, then I can plug in other things and then we'll have free power. And socialism is like that. It's not that me and Don or anybody with any training understand. It's not that I hate the word socialism. I don't like the way it's spelled, or it's hard to spell. I don't like it because it does not work. And so when you plug the power strip into itself, it just doesn't work. You might think it does. Look at it, I go, oh, now I got power and I can plug in my lamp and stuff. It just mathematically and accounting wise and just numbers, it don't work. It's not that I hate socialism because somebody talked about it that happened to be Hispanic or black or white. It's such a non-issue because when you really break it down, it don't work. It's just, and
yeah, that's a great analogy. We've actually talked about quite a few things here today during the program. But the last thing that we were talking about there was, the socialism and how the Democrats seem to think that, they know what they're doing, so they're going to make it work. And then, we went to break and Mark brings that up and he's like, yeah, you just take a power cord or a power strip, plug it into itself, and then you got all this power.
Yeah, you got 3 or 4 more plugs.
Analogy, man. Do you lay awake at night thinking of this stuff?
I don't know where I think of this stuff, actually.
That's good stuff, man. I mean, that's actually spot on.
Well, you've seen those 3D drawings where the steps keep going around and they just keep going up and up and up, but it's an illusion. It's drawn that way, and maybe on paper, well, obviously on paper it works because you can just follow it around until your eyes fall out. Mm-hmm. But in reality, it wouldn't work. The minute you try to build it, you can't because it's three-dimensional. It doesn't work like it does on paper. And socialism and communism are the same thing. When you actually apply it to just mathematics, I'm not even going to bring up accounting because people think that's business and I'm a free market capitalist pig. It does not work because so many dynamics, if I'm not motivated to work for some gain, even if it's just 2 apples instead of 1 apple, I'm not going to do it. And the glory of the state just isn't enough to make people go out and work and get paid the same as a doctor that has gone to school. And the doctor's just like, I'm going to call in sick every day except 2 out of the year because that's all I'm getting paid. It falls apart. And so I think people, when you talk to them about socialism not working, they just think that it's a free market principle or, that I'm fighting against or to save or capitalism. No, it's just math. It does not work. Human nature dictates that it will never, ever work. That's why it's never worked. It's just...
Yeah. Well, you have to have balance. I don't care who you are or how you feel or how you think. And that's where the framers of our Constitution and the founding fathers of this great nation were genius, because they realized that you had to have balance. You have to have some kind of a balance. If you go too far one way or too far the other way, you have Marxists, you have tyranny. You've got to be, because, if you take the red wagon way too far to the right, what do you end up with?
Yeah, it's just over there. Yeah, well, and and when you look at economies, and I read a couple books, by KYAH and stuff on economy, and he really broke it down simple. Because this is your economy. If you're Robinson Crusoe and you're stuck on the island, your economy is what you can build with your hands and what you can find, and you can build a shelter maybe. That's your economy. Now, if Friday comes along and Friday goes, well, I know how to make things out of metal. Well, now you have someone else doing something that you don't know how to do. So now you have two things. So you go, well, I can build you this hut because I'm really good at that. And you make me a knife so I can go hunting. That becomes the economy. And it's very organic. It's like nobody would plant a seed on a cliff, and yet a tree will grow there. And so socialism and communism stifle that creativity, that organic thing to where, who would, I don't think they marketed pet rocks in Russia, because I could just hear the leaders going, who wants pet rock?
Yeah.
What are you talking? Put him in the gulag, this crazy man. But and you think, well, a pet rock did nothing for society. But the guy that came up with it made millions. And maybe he went on to start another business and hire a bunch of people that went on to do other things. And so it organically grew out of a damn pet rock. And yet a socialist country, Castro would have just killed the guy. It's like pet rock. We got serious problems. We always have serious problems in a socialist society or a communist society because everything's constantly falling apart.
Yeah. Well, the people are who have the problems. The upper echelon and leadership don't have any problems.
Yeah. Like all of Kim Jong-un's, North Korea's leadership are all pretty chunky. Everyone else standing out there marching as skinny as a rail because they're starving to death.
When you brought that up, I immediately went back to the footage in my mind of when Kim Jong-un was going to meet with Trump the second time around, and his car was going down the road and he had his goons walking along the side, and then they went through whatever it was that they went through, the traffic jam or whatever it was. And then it shows, Kim Jong-un's car pulling away, the Mercedes pulling away. And those clowns are running and scrambling to try to get into cars so they could keep up. And I'm thinking to myself, this is how his security brigade works. This is a freaking circus, man.
Yeah. And it's always on the edge of collapse. Like everybody was trying to kill Hitler. They never admitted it.
No,
but the German people,
that's why. Look. All right, that's why Kim Jong-un never really lets too many people get. I mean, you see him with his soldiers and all, but the citizens of the country never get too close to him.
Yeah, and I wonder about their generals. Always have like a plastered medals all up and down one side. They haven't been in a war since we were in war with North Korea, 40, 50 years ago?
They're
60
fake.
years ago? So it's like, they give them all these tokens and they feed them a little better, just like, any collapsed society. You keep your power structure in place by feeding them and taking care of their families, because that's the currency that will keep loyalty, and there is no money. So what do you have to fall back onto as anybody? You either suck up to this guy so you live in a better house and you eat better food, or you're out there, you're the plebes that are begging for scraps. I mean, look at that thing in Venezuela where they're drinking sewer runoff water.
Yeah, you mentioned there's no money, but even if there was money, it does no good because there's nothing in the stores to buy.
Right. There's no pet rock. There's no exchange where there's always someone dumb enough to buy the stupidest crap. Yeah. And that guy makes money, and I've got to go out and work harder so I can afford 2 pet rocks. And it's organic. It just grows. It's like, when your blood stops flowing, your arm goes to sleep. It's no different.
Well, it's interesting because it's just, and I don't know why the left can't just open their eyes and see that. no matter, just look around at the socialist nations and look how deplorable it is. No matter who it is, or how well you think you know how to work something, socialism, the way that communism and socialism work is that the government absorbs everything.
Right.
And then once there's nothing left to absorb, it collapses.
I think what's wrong with a lot of us in America is we always look at those people and go, don't they see it? But if you think back to the bloody battles we talked about, that is their broadsword that they're hitting us with. They know the outcome. They don't care about you being hungry or socialism working or not. They will be in control. They will have the high castle, and you will be once again a serf. And they don't really care about all of the other stuff. Socialism never works for the people on the ground, the normal people. It works just fine for those that are stealing everything and forcing everyone to work to keep them fat and happy and protected. So they know exactly what they're doing, and they do look around and probably see this stuff and go, oh, that works for what I want out of the deal. Screw all the plebes, because it doesn't work for them, and they don't care any more than when you pull that trigger of that guy 5 feet in front of you. You're fighting for someone's ideology, and if it's not just and it's not moral, you're on the wrong side.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a bloody battle. We just don't see the blood.
Well, so you got any final thoughts? Because we got about 1 minute and 30 seconds left. So about 1.5 minutes left in today's program. Any final words you want to tell our listeners?
I think people just need to realize that it is a war. It's a battle without weapons that we're usually associate with it. They're using the media, they're using that, but make no mistake, when it's over, we will have lost our freedom and liberty, the same as Wallace lost his life when the other guy won. It's a war, and if we lose, the results will be the same. We will be slaves and serfs.
Yeah.
And so don't be looking for blood loss here. It's a war.
Yeah, and for all of you people out there that seem to think that the Green New Deal is only about green energy and all, you better think twice, because I'm telling you, it's a lot more than that. It's a very dangerous thing, and we need to resist that at all costs.
And I would say it has nothing to do with the environment at all. It's just another gun they're pulling, or another broadsword to chop off more of our heads to win the battle.
That's it.
They don't care about whether cows fart or glyphosate is contaminating our water supply. They just want to win. And you have to look at it. That's right.
So our time is up for the day. I'd like to say
we are so high tech that our phone rings.
So until next time, we'd like to say thank you for tuning in. And remember, head over to ContraRadioNetwork.com. Say hello to the other hosts. Tell them that Mark and Don, the two crazy guys, sent you. Also, if you're listening up there in Utah, give the station a call. Tell them your thoughts, because that does help us a lot.
Yes, it does. It really does.
So, on behalf,
maybe we can afford a better clock then.
On behalf of myself, Big D, and the other crazy guy, Mark Boyle, aka Prepper Guy, thanks for tuning in, and we'll catch you again next week.
Adios, people.
We interrupt your programming. This is a national emergency. Important instructions will follow.
Thanks for tuning in. Catch them next time as they dig into the issues. The two crazy guys. Log on to the website at www.contraradionetwork.com.